such a nice This is such a nice opportunity to give dentistry the love that it deserves, and hopefully this can help people who are interested in applying or who don't know a lot about dentistry, and this could be useful for you. So please, to anyone here, I am an open book of just about anything. So reach out to me after for questions for absolutely anything. So yeah, I figured I'd start by showing you a little bit more about me. So I'm originally from Buenos Aires. I grew up in Argentina, the land of the best soccer, the best meat, the best ice cream. When I was little, my parents moved to Miami. That's where I grew up. I did my BS in bioengineering from Stanford, and now I'm a fourth year at Harvard Dental, and I'm excited to be pursuing orthodontics next year at Harvard. So I'll be doing braces, Invisalign, the like. Okay, so how I figured I would structure today's presentation just on the questions that you all shared before. We're going to tell a little bit about why I chose dentistry for those who may be not yet sure, what applying to dental school is like, a little bit about a day in the life of a dental student, and exciting dental innovations that fascinate me. Okay, so here's just a little bit of background about myself. What called me to dentistry? Well, you could see in this picture that I've been brainwashed since birth because this is me wanting to be a dentist. I don't even know how old I was. And I blame it on my mother because when I was a child, this was the doll that I played with, Señor Risa. And if you zoom in, you can see that this is made from real teeth extracted from her own patients. Very much so, she was dead set on this from the start. And this is what I grew up playing with. However, like a classic daughter could be, I was a bit rebellious and I said, oh no, I grew up with dentistry, but I do not want to do this. I want to be an engineer. And I went to Stanford to study bioengineering, saying dentistry is not for me. I'm not going to be doing this. This is like a fun centrifuge I built as a second year. Fun stuff. And then I realized that the tooth fairy was never coming for me. Growing up, my baby teeth were never falling out. And I was quickly thrown into the dental chair. And I remember the day that I was sitting in my mom's office and she took some x-rays and she started crying hysterically. I start crying hysterically. I'm like, Mom, what's going on? You're not telling me what's going on. She was crying. I started crying. It was a whole hot mess. Turns out I was born genetically missing 13 permanent teeth. So four of them are wisdom, nine, however, matter a lot more. And I was very quickly thrown into realizing how dentistry doesn't only affect your oral health, it affects your systemic health and it affects your self-esteem. And I realized, being from the dental chair perspective, how much engineering there is involved in dentistry and how dentistry would give me the power to do a little bit of everything. I would be able to join the engineering that I love with the aesthetics, the art, and pursue something that I would have the largest influence on the most amount of people in my own way. And that's what brought me here today. So now, hopefully, God willing, in May, I will be graduating as a general dentist. And I will be able to affect people's systemic health, their oral health, their self-esteem, and the way I most love. Okay, so I know that there's a lot of people who are interested in applying to dental school who are on this call who don't know a lot about it. And I think this meme kind of generalizes everything. A lot of people say, how do I even start? Well, by starting. You're not going to be able to run a marathon. I don't think I'll be able to run a marathon in my life, but you won't be able to run a mile if you don't take your first step. So I figured I'd talk a little bit through the process. From the other perspective, I'm able to sit on admissions committee as a fourth year student at Harvard, and I see things from both sides. A little bit about what individuals look for, what dental schools look for. First, good grades. Build your resume, and if you are still an undergrad, if you're still taking classes, please focus on doing the best you can in your core classes and complete your requirements. A lot of people don't know that many dental schools have very specific requirements. And if you don't have those checked marked, you're going to have to take classes between when you apply to dental school and when you get in because you have to take the check mark. So go to each specific dental school's website and make an Excel sheet of every class that's required and make sure if you're still an undergrad that you're able to check those off the list. Research, huge, but only huge if it interests you. People can see through when you do things just to check a box and when you do things because it's actually something that you feel passionately about. So find things that actually make you feel passionately about, that actually make you, get excited when you're in an interview, make your eyes light up. And there's so many different things. A lot of people are like, research, it's something I could never do. Absolutely, you can. There's a niche for everyone. And where do you start? By finding a mentor who can guide you and who can show you that niche. And this is kind of something that I think is very important. I think it's very hard to do well in the professional world without someone who can guide you, without someone who can trust you and who can teach you. And that goes for research, that goes for mentorship and just about finding what you want to do in life. Reach out to people. You would never be surprised how many people are interested in teaching someone who admires them, who respects them, who is a kind person, and who is ambitious and motivated for the good. And at the end of the day, when you apply to dental school, you're going to need letters of recommendation. So this will be very helpful down the line. Also, make your Excel sheet of what each school recommends because some schools require letters from different people. You're also going to need to take the DAT, the dental admissions exam. I used DAT bootcamp to study, and I could not recommend it highly enough. I had a great experience with it. And here's a little bit about what to expect on the test. Unlike the MCAT, the dental school exam has this perceptual ability section. And when you do take the perceptual ability section, I'll give you an example. Like they'll give you 4 different angles with 4 different sizes, and you're going to have to rank them. And then from there, you'll go smallest angle to biggest angle. It shows you a little bit about how you're going to be inside of the mouth, which is a little bit fun, a little bit intimidating. Practice, practice, practice. And of course, you have your classic application, just like you would have a Common App. Okay. And of course, interviews. I kind of touched on this, but the best thing that you can be is yourself. Individuals can read right through when someone's faking it just to fake it. So just be prepared for the basic questions. Tell me about yourself. How would your friends describe you? Tell me about a difficult challenge. I can tell you from the other end of things, when I'm interviewing someone, I most want to be able to feel like I can have a conversation with someone in clinic, after clinic, and you can tell that. You want someone who asks you as many questions as you ask them. So just be yourself, be conversational. Okay. One of my favorite parts, dental school, what's it like? I know a lot of people have no idea about dentistry. They're a lot more into the medicine track. Dental school is so, so fun. And I think it's a sense into how artistic and how hands-on the profession is. This is a little bit about my friends. We do a lot. At Harvard, here's a little bit about the Harvard-Yale game, some suturing workshops, a lot of different fun events. And I think it's kind of a glimpse into how in the dental profession, maybe this is me being biased, but there's so much of working with others, different specialties. It's very much a sense into how you can create an artistic and a medical project amongst all these different specialties. And it's quite beautiful. Okay, so a fun passion project of mine and a shameless plug is to follow Smile with Cami on Instagram. And I've been very much I've been trying to grow. This is like a new project of mine, and I think I'm very much trying to show a little bit about what dental school is like. So, for those who don't know, the first year we do fully with Harvard Medical School. HSDM is very much focused on holistic health, and a lot of people don't realize, like as dentists, you are a doctor, you prescribe medication just like anyone else. And I think having the first year with Harvard Medical School very much gives you a sense of the entire human body. Then after the first year, when the medical students go into, doing their rounds and go into the hospitals, we stay and do dental didactic materials. And that's when we get into the preclinical lab and we start working on mannequins. From there, the third year is a mix of seeing your own patients and also working on mannequins in the preclinical lab. And then the fourth year, you see patients full time. You go on externships, you explore different specialties, you do a little bit of everything. So this is also a shameless plug. This is on Smile with Cami for those interested. But this was kind of a day of my life, studying for boards and doing a little bit of board prep. Here you can see from 8 to 11, 8 to 12, we're able to see patients. Then from 1 to 5, we see patients as well. And then we always have after school activities, whether it be workshops, whether it be practicing for boards, whatever the case may be. This is our preclinical lab. And then, you get home and you try to be a human. outside of the dental world. Okay. End of D3, you choose a specialty, or you can choose to pursue general dentistry. My mom is a general dentist, big plug. You don't have to choose a specialty. So these are a little bit about like if you want to, what you can choose to pursue. Endodontics focus on roots and nerves. Orofacial plane, a lot of people have a lot of TMJ issues. TMD, different disorders. Oral medicine, you can be an oral maxillofacial surgeon. There's so much in the dental world, and orthodontics is what I'm choosing to do. Okay, and here you can see we just had our match day at Harvard Dental, and these are some of my friends and what they're choosing to specialize in. So here you see we have endodontics, periodontics, we have oral maxillofacial surgery, orthodontics, and of course, a lot of research in dentistry. We're always looking to build. And I think this is something that I most am excited to talk about. I feel like I say that in every transition, but I truly love this because a lot of people don't realize how much innovation, how much tech there is within dentistry. And a passion project of mine is finding ways to bridge dentistry with AI, artificial intelligence. And I think that's mainly because I have an engineering background and I kind of want to find ways to innovate the dental space. So here's a little bit about what I've been working on, and hopefully you guys can enjoy this a bit. So this is an average day in the pediatric dental clinic at HSDM. And this is a little bit about a ChatGPT bot that I created. Let's go into the dental storyteller. This is Abraham, my husband. We share an OpenAI account. I thank him for that. So let's say we come in and I say, all right, Cami is a 5-year-old girl with long, dirty blonde hair and hazel green eyes. She wears pigtails. She loves Messi, you can tell I'm Argentinian, and eating ice cream. All right. So with a generative AI LLM, this is literally just a little bot that I programmed myself using ChatGPT. We have Cami skipped to see Dr. Cami today. She was happy and ready to play. Her pigtails bounced as she waved hello. With a Missy shirt, she was ready to go. Ice cream's your favorite, isn't that right? Dr. Cami grinned, her smile so bright. But we must clean teeth both night and day to keep those sugar bugs away. Let me tell you, the kids love this. We can use generative AI to make the patient experience so much more fun in the dental practice. Healthy teeth mean more ice cream fun, and you're a champion just like Macy's one. And then it will make me a cartoon of little Cami coming in to see Dr. Cami. And it's so fun. Like you show these to pediatric patients and they go crazy. And it's not just pediatric patients. These are some examples of my own patients who I've made cartoons for. And it's not just pediatric patients, adult patients love this just as much as the pediatric patients. And we can use AI to make the dental experience so much more interactive. In terms of clinical dentistry, where we can apply artificial intelligence, the diagnostic space is very much growing. So these are two companies, Overjet and Pearl. There's so much more. Vidya AI is another one, where basically using computer vision, AI can label caries on radiographs, can label bone loss on radiograph. And here you can see. If I'm going to be fully honest, talking to a lot of dentists in practice, you'll say, oh, do you use these technologies? And they'll say, no. Like I look at a radiograph and I know immediately where a caries is. Like I can see the bone loss. Does this really help me? Not really. Does this help the patient experience? A lot more. Patients sometimes, dentists get a bad rep, and I don't know why. And sometimes patients don't always trust the dentist as much as they should, but when they see the AI labeling, they believe the dentist a lot more. So I think it oftentimes helps to teach the patient and to show the patient more than you would think. AI can also now be used quite a lot for administrative dentistry, where you're able to see if your practice grows, your treatment complete, like where you can most focus on growing your practice. And of course, for classification. So this is a project that I've worked on myself, where we do classification of maxillofacial morphology using AI. And just an example, taking measurements from a lateral cephalogram, this is used a lot in orthodontics, we're able to create a random forest model that can classify a patient depending on their frame, whether it be horizontal or whether it be vertical frame. And the results have been great. So I'm showing this just because it's a project of mine, but there's so many AI implementation projects that are just like that. Okay, so another kind of example of AI in dentistry is in the prosthetic workflow. So if you guys haven't been to a dental clinic recently, you may not know that now all these scans are taken digitally. So a dentist will kind of put this wand into your mouth that'll go da 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 da. It'll take a bunch of images every millisecond to create this 3D intraoral scan of your mouth and of your bite. So what can AI do? This, for example, is a crown prep on tooth number 3. Basically, AI can now be used to design crowns to help the prosthetic workflow. And this is huge. You know, this is saving labs so much money. And basically, what it's using is data from all of these previous crowns that have worked, that have been successful, maybe that haven't been so successful, uh, and creating new crowns for new patients. And what can we do? So, this is kind of an example of this crown being made. So here is a dentist who, with their own drill, has, created this crown preparation. And I think that this is quite amazing. And then with the 3D scan, it will create this tooth. It will show you different fits, where occlusion would take place. This is the dentist kind of being a human in the loop, modifying what the AI model makes for you. And then from there, the dentist can see high points of occlusion when the patient would potentially bite down, can see things that would go wrong, things that would go well. And in a perfect world, this dentist can then print a crown that goes right over with CAD/CAM printing or with 3D printing. The same AI designed crown can be printed in-house. It's amazing. AI can also be used to make removable prosthetics. Here you have a partial. Here you have an implant surgical guide. Here you have an implant. Basically, using previous patient data that's worked and that hasn't worked, we can create designs for new patients. And this is something that a lot of people don't know about dentistry. Like the scope is huge, and this is amazing. And I think it's kind of a field that sometimes goes a little bit under the radar in terms of how people appreciate, value it. They don't realize how much there is within the field. It's amazing. Okay, so this is a little bit more about AI applications, a little bit on the generative AI side, and this is also a project of mine that I did with my husband, who was also featured before. So basically what we did is we compared the dental knowledge of different large language models. So we're not going to be able to make new technologies with something like an LLM if we don't know how well they perform. So here what we did is we compared closed source with open source models, GPT-4, Mistral, Claude. I know they're a little bit outdated at this point, but you could see kind of the accuracy of how the models performed to dental boards. And now with reasoning models, I can guarantee you that they'll very likely perform even better. So it's very nice seeing kind of if we're able to test how different models perform, we can then be able to create new technologies that can use these models if they perform well. This is also a paper that I worked on, kind of that shows the future of dentistry. And this is, I think, very exciting and where we could apply generative AI. If we have, for example, an AI-enabled dental co-pilot, we can use it for patient care, where the provider can say, create a treatment plan for this patient, given their records. The patient can communicate with a dental co-pilot, saying, what should I expect at my next visit? What are my post-op instructions? What medications should I be taking? And of course, everything's going to need to be supervised. That's guaranteed. But there's so much potential. In the world of dental education, faculty can create standardized patients and have dental students interact with these dental co-pilots saying, this is how I would treat the patient. The dental co-pilot can tell you, this is where you went wrong. This is what you should do the next time. It's amazing. The possibilities are endless. Okay. Well, we sped through this. Hopefully, you saw a little bit of a scope of what applying to dental school is like. A little bit about, I don't know, a sense of a day in the life of a dental student. I think I'm an open book where on my Instagram, if you follow Smile with Cami, you'll be able to see me. I'll be able to show a little bit about dental school every day, and a little bit about the work I do. Now I'll be starting orthodontics, so maybe there will be more of an emphasis on braces, Invisalign, and a lot more of biomechanics. But please reach out to me with any questions, no matter where you are. If you are a prospective applicant, if you're in the medical field and interested in something dental related, and I am more than happy to answer any questions at any time. So if anyone has any questions, reach out in the chat. But if not, you can definitely reach out to me outside through Instagram, through email, and I'm more than happy to answer anything at any time. Okay, so I've got a question. Hey, Cami, can you tell us any tips or habits that you think would be essential to succeed in undergrad and preparing for dental school? Absolutely. First and foremost, remember your why. You always want to be kind of thinking about why you're doing what you're doing and what keeps you going. Sometimes it's easy to feel like the world can be a little bit overwhelming, and you can feel like, wow, I'm very, very far from where I want to be. But if you remember what pushes you and what motivates you, I think that will very much help you find new motivations, kind of and keep you going. Uh, Sorry, you can turn off your sound. Perfect. Another thing is, without a doubt, finding mentors. So I talked about this. If you don't find people who can kind of guide you, it's very easy to feel lost. Find mentors who will push you, who will show you the way, who will give you new opportunities, and who will keep you going. And my third advice is to find a network. So when you're applying to dental school, something that I loved and I didn't put in this chat is finding a Facebook group where everyone is applying just like you. DAT Bootcamp, I think, is a Facebook group that I use where people post memes, people post difficult questions that they didn't know the answer to. And it makes you feel like you are part of a community that is whole and like you're not the only one. So whether it be Reddit, whether it be SDN is a little bit dangerous sometimes, but Facebook groups where you feel like you have a community. Okay, what did you like best from dental school? I think it's the lamest answer, but the people, my faculty, my friends. I feel like being in a community of people who are like you and who push you and who keep you going make you want to be there every single day. The friends. Okay, for matching into neurosurgery or plastic surgery residency, publication research is important. How important is it for dental residencies? I think you hear mixed reviews on this, and it very much depends on the programs. So some programs look for different things. A school like Harvard is very much research driven, and they will be looking for publications more than maybe hospital-based programs that don't care about research as much. So I think first and foremost, look into the programs that most interest you and why they interest you, and talk to people there about what they look for. So, definitely some programs care about research more than others. A school like Harvard, research is mandatory. You need research in order to graduate. Like, for example, as pre-docs, we have a research day where I think everyone will probably, if you're in the Longwood area, you could probably stop by and see all of the different research projects that we've been working on. However, other schools don't care as much. So definitely find the school that you think would be a best fit for you and see kind of the path that you would need to get there. Amazing. And like I mentioned, ask me questions offline whenever. I'm an open book. Please, I'm eager to help and guide whoever I can. What was the orthodontic process like? Oof. This was a little bit stressful, I'm not gonna lie. So the orthodontic matching process is just like the MD matching process, where you first have to apply to all these different schools, then you get interviews back. If you interview at a school, you go in person. It's usually a 2-day thing where there's a nightly social, And then there's an interview the day before. You meet the residents, you meet the faculty, you tell them a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your application. From there, you rank programs. So you put a list within the system of the program that you would be first, second, third, fourth, whatever the case may be, and they rank you. Then there's a matching day. And that day, they send you if you've matched and what program you've matched to. And you are set on going to that school. The application process is really similar to the dental school process, where you need an application with recommendation letters, with, GPA from your dental school, with research if it's something that you've had. And in a way, it's kind of like you're building yourself for the next step. But yeah, I'm happy to talk more about that later, also offline. Do you talk about this in your Instagram? Yes, I do. I talk about all of this. So give me a follow for more. Let's see. Are there any dental students at Harvard who have done a master's program before applying? Actually, yes. A lot of people take gap years, a lot. I don't know if there's any my year specifically, but I think it's something that Harvard Dental would very much like to see, especially if it's maybe something engineering or public health, something that you feel passionately about and that you can talk about in your application. If you did a master's program, why did you do it? It offers you very much kind of a different perspective. However, what's very important is to always know your why in dentistry. So if you did engineering, like a master's in engineering, for example, why are you choosing to now pursue dentistry? That's important. Like, the admissions committee doesn't want to accept someone who may say, "Oh, I changed my mind. Dentistry isn't really something I want to pursue." So make sure that you have shadowing experience and that you can really explain why the master's program is something that's kind of given you a platform to then pursue dentistry. That's huge. Can I participate in research while doing a DMD? Absolutely. It's something that I personally feel super, super passionately about. I think research is fun, it advances the field, and it's very, very much something that can kind of give you a different perspective on dentistry, and it can have you help you study what you most enjoy within the dental field. Huge research opportunities at Harvard specifically. There's so many mentors, so many PIs that you can reach out to. Wet lab research, computational research, whatever you may be interested in, and there's a lot that you can do there. Let's see. This is a private question, but I'm currently a biology major and I'm thinking about changing my major. You took engineering and not a biology major. Do you think there is a benefit from being a major different than the basic options? Hmm. I think it depends. I think engineering kind of helped me think differently, and it's something I really appreciated. And to be honest, I don't know. I figured I'm going to be taking biology classes anyway. I might as well kind of have a different outlook on it because, like, you need to take your pre-med classes anyways, no matter what you major in. So you can major in music as long as have your basic requirements, that's fine. I do think that it's important, like I mentioned before, to kind of have your why dentistry. So if you choose a different path, like if you choose to major in music and engineering and whatever, make sure you say why you did that and why you're interested in dentistry anyways. That's huge for admissions committees. I think do what you love. Like, if you are very passionately about a certain major and you can still study that major while still taking your core dental school prerequisite requirements, do it. And that kind of shines through in your application. People can tell. I found your research presented in the slides intriguing. I'm glad. Could you share when it was published? Was it conducted during your time in the DMD program? Absolutely, it was. If you look me up online, Camilla Tussie. I think my research online, my publications are under my full name, Camilla, and I'll write that in the chat. You'll be able to see quite a bit. It was all conducted during my DMD program. One paper I was quite, I had the opportunity to publish with our Dean Ginobili, which was amazing. We did a scoping review of AI in dental medicine, kind of on the diagnostic front, the predictive medicine front, the generative front. Please check that out. It's awesome. Oh, thank you so much, June. That's my profile. Why did I choose HSDM? I felt like Harvard was a place where I could be a dentist and a researcher, a dentist and an educator, a dentist and a leader. I felt like it was a place where I could be trained to think about what I could do to best change the dental field. And I am so happy with my choice and with my 4 years. I'm choosing to stay. And I think that's evident to how amazing of an experience I had. Harvard is also a very, very small class size. We have 35 people in your average class. Most dental schools have 100 to 200. And I think having such a small community has made faculty really get to know me really get to know faculty. I feel like my voice is very much heard. I feel like I'm so close to my classmates and like I found my people. And I don't think bigger schools maybe may not have I may not have had that experience in bigger schools. I also love the research focus. We've talked about everything I've been able to publish while here, and it's something I want to keep doing. And I don't know if I would have had those mentors and those opportunities elsewhere. And Boston is such a nice place to live. I love cannolis, and I think Bova's Florentine cannoli. If you live in Boston and haven't tried it, I will vouch for Bova's Florentine cannoli. Not sponsored, but I should be with the amount of money that I spend there. It's the very best. So yeah, that's a little bit about my Harvard experience. I'm a sophomore in BU right now. Do you have any advice for someone my year? Well, honestly, if you're BU, you should reach out to certain researchers at Harvard if Harvard is a place that you're interested in, or at BU Dental, or at Tufts Dental to see if you can start doing some dental research. I think it's a great opportunity. You definitely, especially if you're here and you're local, get your foot in the door if you can and kind of explore the programs and the people that you may like or you may not like to see what would be the best fit for you if research is something that you're interested in. Also, shadow as much as you can, learn as much as you can to basically have something to talk about when you're interviewing. They're going to ask you why dentistry, and you want to talk about your shadowing experience, what you liked about different dental practices, what you didn't like. That's my biggest advice. And definitely create an Excel sheet of every different program that you're interested in and their requirements. Because the worst thing that could happen is that you're ready to graduate and you didn't have the requirements you needed. Thank you guys for all these questions. These are great. How well do I need to perform academically during the DMD program to be competitive for an orthodontic residency? Very good question. Something else that I love about Harvard is that it's pass fail. I think it's given me a newfound appreciation to practice, to learn for the love of learning rather than for the grade. And like for me, for example, I didn't have grades when I applied to orthodontics. I just had a pass fail resume. And I don't know if that helped me or hurt me in the sense that kind of I didn't have a GPA to compare me to others. I don't know how important grades are, but they are. That like realistically, they are important. However, grades alone don't mean anything. And if your grades are maybe not incredible, that also is not a make or break it. I think that it's kind of a barrier that you have to jump through, just like the GRE. A box to check that like, okay, this person did well and this person would be able to succeed at our program. Now let's look at this person's personality, this person's interests, this person's research, and just about everything else. So I think don't stress so much about it, but it's something that's important. Do your best and don't leave everything else behind. Like it's important, but it's I think more important to be a well-rounded applicant than just having good grades. I'm interested in orthodontics, and I'm curious about what kind of research is being done in the field of orthodontics at Harvard. There's so much. There's so much. I wish I could start lifting some of this, but please look at like on ResearchGate. There's so much out there. Look up Harvard orthodontics faculty and some of their publications. Harvard Dental prides itself on research, so it's definitely something that we feel passionately about. Okay, there's a minute left of the meeting, so I think that this is my cue. Thank you all so much.